What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the Immortal Podcast, episode 30. Today, Nemo and I are here to talk to you about many things inside of Diablo Immortal, starting with the Rite of Exile. We're going to be talking about the update that went on inside of Diablo Immortal, and much, much more. Nemo, what's going on, man? Welcome back to the podcast. Happy to be here rocking it with you today.
Yeah, man, super pumped and excited. We're back to the podcast, episode 30. I can't believe we've had 30 episodes so far. And we have a lot to talk about today, right? We got the update, the Rite of Exile, all kinds of stuff going on. So let's get going.
Yeah, let's start it off with the, We've been the Immortals since the cycle has turned, and we've had Immortals. We have been holding the Immortals. You are the Immortal. In our last podcast, we heard afterward that a lot of people were disappointed that we didn't talk more about your experience as the Immortal in Immortality. I know that you did put a video out on your channel about being the Immortal, and I interviewed you on my channel about you being the Immortal, so that info can be found there. But we're going to talk about that a bit as well today. Mind you guys, you could all come hang out with Nemo over on the Scrappy Academy YouTube channel, or me over on this YouTube channel, Echo Gaming Diablo. Make sure you subscribe and ring the bell. Oh, and another thing, we are running our giveaway right now. I actually have to edit that into our description here because we have, maybe I'll put it into the chat as well. We're running our giveaway for $125 worth of battle passes, 25 free battle passes being given away to you guys. All you have to do is go to the link and enter through those methods, and you could be entered to win. So it's our thank you for being supportive of us here on our channels with Diablo Immortal. So Nemo, we have the Rite of Exile today. We are the Immortals. We are being challenged, and I can't make the darn event because I'm going to be in the car driving. I'm disappointed. Really stinks, actually. But I want to hear more about it. What's going on with us as the Immortals? We've been holding down the reign, which means everyone else in the server must want to steal it from us. They got to be annoyed that we still are the Immortals. So what's happening tonight? Why don't you fill us in a little bit on what's actually going on?
Sure, that sounds good. So we took Immortality, like I believe 3 weeks ago or something like that. And since then, the shadows have been coming together, right? The way it kind of works is the shadows have to progress to all of their stages, and I believe when they get to the gathering stages, when they can actually challenge the Immortals for the Rite of Exile, which they're able to do last week. So for the last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we've been the Immortals, we're just kind of progressing and doing our thing. And finally, they've gotten to the gathering stage. So we've been challenged, or the Rite of Exile has been initiated, which means that today, this was actually initiated yesterday, because remember, if you've seen some of the videos that Echo put out and myself about the Shadow Wars, right? The Shadow Wars are a way for the top 10 dark clans to sort of like compete and become top 10, so then they can initiate this Rite of Exile. They did this on Tuesday and Thursday this week, so it was initiated, and which means that basically, actually no, they signed up on Tuesday or Monday, and they did it on Thursday and Saturday. So that's why yesterday we got the final a ringer saying, hey, the rite's going to happen tonight. So we have to get together, prepare 80 of our Immortals to go up against 80 of the top shadows from the top 10 dark clans in the Rite of Exile, which is going to be an awesome fight. Simultaneously, 10 teams will be fighting, 8 teams will be fighting together. And then we'll see what happens after that. So it's happening at 8 tonight. That's kind of how the Rite of Exile works. If you have any questions, by the way, make sure to tag us in the chat. Make sure to tag me or Echo so we know that you're asking the questions, and we'll be able to answer them. Otherwise, what has been like? How have we been doing? I mean, things have been good so far as the Immortals. Echo, you've done all of the Immortals, right? Did you do the Corvus Expedition yet? I think
Yes,
that's the one that you missed.
I've done everything so far. The only thing that I'm going to miss is the Rite of Exile. Now, I've learned that Diablo Immortal is a game where you need to have time. You need to be able to segment time out through your day to do these types of events, because things happen at certain times in Diablo Immortal. Very different than, I always go back to Clash of Clans, because that's where the roots of my mobile gaming are. In Clash of Clans, you have a war, it lasts for 24 hours, you have to do 2 attacks. So you could go anywhere in a 24-hour time period. But in Diablo Immortal, it's very different, and you really need to have, as the Immortals, literally 5 out of the 7 days of the week, you need to be available during a certain time if you want to participate in all the things. Some things that I lack participation in are the defending the vault, unfortunately. It's difficult. The system right now, I think Nemo would agree, is a little bit clunky on how you can get yourself into a position to actually be able to defend. And for someone like me, I have a good grind period in the morning for about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, where I can get in and really play a lot during the week, Monday through Friday. But then in the nighttime, I find myself popping in for 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, and to really like queue myself up and get involved in one of these types of events can be tough, unless if I really plan it out, put it on like the calendar and really make it part of my day. For example, like the Rite of Exile tonight, I'm going to be driving, and I have no way to play. So unfortunately, I have to miss it. That's one of the downfalls, but at the same time, it's a good thing about the game as well. It really makes you, especially if you're being an immortal, of course. I guess I'm talking about when you're really pushing the game to its limits. It requires you to synergize with your team and really work together and commit to being in that type of a position inside of the game. So for me, I've been, I've been doing everything that you have to do. I've done the Corvus thing. It's cool. It's all right. It gives you free rewards. The trivia is pretty easy because you could see what everyone in chat is saying, and they're all recommending, they're saying this is the right answer. What else do? We do the Rite of Exile. We do the defending of the vault. We do Keon's Ordeal on a regular basis, which is always a lot of fun. By the way, I did get a legendary Nemo out of one of those rings. Have you gotten a legendary out of a ring yet?
No.
Nothing.
No.
Man. Well.
Oh wait, you mean talk about the end there, with the lottery thing?
The lottery. This 4 rings.
Yeah. Oh, dude, finally, 2 days ago. Seriously, I've done this how many times? Right, the alphas, the betas. We've played this many times, and I've never, not once, have gotten anything. And finally, 2 days ago, dude, it started raining. I got 3 of them on the first.
No.
The first one. It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, congratulations. I've gotten one myself, but it's nice. It's okay though. It's funny because I need like 4 pieces of legendary gear. I have everything else, and then like you're just trying to get that one piece that you need, and the odds of it falling, and the odds of me getting chosen, and the odds of it dropping the one that I need are slim. But that's okay.
Well,
yeah.
You make up a good point, right? There's 2 things here. One is the activities for the immortals, and 2 is the time commitment.
Yeah.
So I think you pretty much said it, right? It takes so much time to be an immortal because there's activities on top of having your regular stuff that you do, like the bounties and etc. Now you have to do like the Corvus Expedition, which is 3 times a week. It's a 30-minute session 3 times a week. You have to defend the vault every day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, without any vacations or etc. From 12 to 2 p.m. and 7 to 9 p.m. There has to be multiple teams of people standing there and defending the vault because it's going to be attacked. And you need to make sure you defend the vault. Now, the actual vault system is really clunky. In fact, it really causes a lot of frustrations in the immortals. Like, I think we're going to make several videos about this, kind of highlighting it and talking about what the issues are. But in general, it's just a frustrating activity. It just takes up a lot of your time. Like, who's going to want to just stand there for 2 hours out of the day, 2 times a day, to do this? And I mean, one of them is 12 to 2 p.m. too, so that's most of the time when people are working, right? We're in North America East, that is like the lunchtime to 2 p.m. is when everyone is working. So it's like, it's very difficult, a lot of time commitment between that and then the Keon's Ordeal and then running all of the dailies and doing all the rest of that stuff. It's just an insane amount of time. And like Echo said, 5 days out of the week, you're doing extra things. Some of the people just don't want to put that much commitment into a game. And I mean, really, what are the rewards, right? We'll talk about that more once we get to it. But I think that the Vault system is really frustrating. The same thing with the Keon's Ordeal. We've mentioned this to Blizzard a few times. And we'll make several more videos talking about this. But it's really frustrating. And one of my pain points is being the Immortal, for example. It just takes so much time to organize it. It's almost like not worth it,
Yeah,
so
no, I get there is a lot of organization. And we kind of knew about the politics and everything going into it, but we didn't feel what it was like to be the Immortal and have to organize things. Because, I mean, we could be the Immortal, organize absolutely nothing, and then it can come and get stolen from us, in the Rite of Exile. Or you could try and play it right and try and maintain that status, which is what Nemo's doing right now. He's holding down being the immortal and organizing everything so that he can maintain that for the Scrappy Echoes. All right, so we have something that came through, a quick question. Remember, this show is all about questions. If you have any questions, that basically drives what we talk about. The first one is from John Hall. He says, "What's up, Echo? I got a 3 out of 5 star gem rolling 1 legendary crest and 2 rare." Oh, that's pretty cool as well. I mean, a lot of people, you could get some bad luck, if you're buying legendary crests or if you are, getting them for free through some type of reward systems. It can be difficult, and sometimes you just get 1 star gem after 1 star, and when you get those 5 stars, it feels really good. Now you have to decide if you want to upgrade that 5-star gem, or if you're going to keep it where it's at and kind of just roll with that and really focus on upgrading your 1-star gems, which is what Nemo and I spent most of the podcast talking about last week. If you missed that episode 29, go check it out. We talk about it in depth. And Kevin Fisher asks, I see a lot of people switching to normal for daily dungeons to solo them. Nemo, this is a problem for me. I am in the same boat. So when you become Hell 3, which is around Paragon 60, I believe it is, you have your, at least as an immortal, right? You have your, or I guess if you want to do any dungeons, as an immortal daily, we have 2 things that we need to do, or we have 8 things we have to do every single day. 2 of them are running 2 specific dungeons. Now, to do those dungeons on Hell 4, you need a party of 4 people. You can't do it without 3 other people with you. Organizing people to do that and finding people is not as simple as going up to the dungeon and clicking search for party and finding other people to do it and diving into it. I have to jump onto Discord, get in touch with the warband and say who wants to run these. Oftentimes, I can get 3 other guys and we'll run a few dungeons together. I'll help them with theirs, they'll help me with mine, and it's great. But again, it takes coordination, and some days, on a day, maybe when you don't have a lot of time, you can't get the 4. So you want to complete your Immortal Daily, you want to get the rewards to progress your Battle Pass by doing these dungeons, but you're like, man, I have to drop down to normal. So you'll go to Westmarch, you'll click on your map, you'll change difficulty back to normal just so that you can run the dungeon as 1 person, because on normal you could run it as 1 person. Issue though is, first of all, it's annoying to have to do that. Second of all, you can't play, the rewards you get are garbage when you're playing on normal. No gold really drops, and it's just, you're not supposed to be playing the game on normal when you are supposed to be playing it on Hell 3. It's not meant to drop back. But to complete the dailies and to help participate and to help, keep the Immortals thriving, you have to do that. And for me, although it doesn't take very long, it's 5 to 8 minutes out of the day, it's frustrating. I feel like it's something I don't want to do inside of the game, but it's something that I have to do because I want to support the Immortals. Nemo, how do you feel about this? Do you think this is something that Blizzard's been thinking about? Where do you think this is just going to be how it is?
Well, that's a really tough question.
Yeah.
That is a really tough. In fact, actually, a lot of people are pretty much asking the same stuff in the chat.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't really know how to answer that one.
Well, I could help. How about I help? I tried laying you up right there. I mean,
okay.
Something that we've heard from the beginning, Nemo, is Blizzard wants this to be a game where people play together with friends, a social game, right? I think that this is an effort for them forcing socialization in a way.
Okay.
Now, I love the idea. I love the idea of playing with friends. I have more fun running dungeons when I run with you guys and when I run with friends. And honestly, sometimes when I'm more busy, I could kind of kick back and lay back a little bit more. You guys could do all the work, and then I can just catch up to you if I'm maybe playing while I'm at work or doing something like that. There's benefits of doing that. But at the same time, I don't like being forced to do it, specifically when, I have to do it for a reward or for something for the Immortals, or if you're playing as Shadows. It's nice to be able to have the option. I would love to see there be an option to do that, but again, that takes away from Blizzard wanting this to be and really focusing this on being a social game. So if I think about it, will they change it? It honestly is something that's pretty small. You don't have to run those dungeons. It's not something you have to do, but running dungeons is fun, and there are a lot of rewards you can get from it, set items. So I guess you are kind of being trapped a little bit if you're someone inside of the game that doesn't have friends. So Nemo, let's think about someone that plays Diablo Immortal, they are a grinder, or they've spent money, or whatever it is, and they're Hell 3. They want to run dungeons, but they don't have a good clan. They don't have a good warband. Their group is kind of dead. What do they do? Are they missing out on this part of the game?
To be honest with you, that's one of my main pain points, right, with this whole thing. Like, yes. So what I was saying before is, or not saying before, I guess, is I'm kind of in the middle because, like you said, right, they want to make sure it's a social game, so you almost like want to force some things, but then when you force like certain dungeons when you need them for bounties or immortal dailies or whatever, it just gets annoying. And annoying to certain people. Like, some people just want to play solo, and some people want to be very efficient, right? So just standing there and waiting for the party, and then while you're doing that, somebody else goes AFK. It's just a clunky process. Then you got to drop somebody. It's just annoying and just takes so much time. So I don't know what the answer here is. You want to group with people, but you also at the same time want to provide like people a route for an experience where they can just go and not be annoyed. So maybe if there's like after a certain amount of time, you can go solo, and because you don't need somebody, right, to go in like Hell 2 or Hell 3 at some points, even in solo a dungeon yourself. At some points, you're strong enough to do it. So you're just waiting there and wasting time. I don't know what the best solution here is, but we definitely need to have one because it's annoying, and I feel it because like back when we were playing in the betas and the alphas, we had the same issue. There weren't enough people on the server to even group, right? So there wasn't any friends or anybody. So we just waited for hours sometimes. I ended up just not doing some of the dungeons because I didn't feel like waiting, Echo. So I'm sure you felt the same way, right?
Yeah, I did feel the same way, and you don't want to sit and wait around for everyone to queue up, and it's just. And sometimes, if you invite me to a dungeon, I may not want to do that dungeon. It may not be something that I want to do at that time. So it does feel like a little bit of a forcing people to play together element. I love, and I always have loved the whole idea that Blizzard has about making or wanting people to play together. But at the same time, I think that in this case, it's being a little bit forced, and it should be promoted, but not forced. Like, I would love to see double the rewards if you play together with a full party. There's incentive, but you can run it solo for your normal rewards or something like that, or cut rewards in half if you run it solo or something like that, or 3/4. I don't know. I just want the ability to play it on the proper difficulty without having to switch anything solo. But I want to also have the promotion on, I want to promote the gameplay as well, doing it with your team. Now, Nemo, I'm gonna pop it back to you. Is there any other questions? There was actually let me grab this question because I had one in my head.
Sure.
I noticed a lot of shadows leaving after floor 3 in the vault. How does this impact Immortals? I'm gonna hand this off to you, and I'm gonna actually pull up the news because we had an update that I want to talk about next.
Sure, sounds good. So, if for all of you who know, there's 4 floors on the vault. If you're a shadow, you can come in and start doing your thing. The only way that the Immortals will actually get notified that there's somebody in the vault is if you let one of the wardens, those NPCs that run around with the bells, if you let them live for long enough, they'll ring the bell, we'll get notified. The other way is when you get to fourth floor. When you do, it automatically notifies the Immortals at this point, which I really don't understand. This is a new thing. It wasn't the case back in the betas and the alphas, but it is now. So some shadows, I guess, devise a strategy, and the strategy is just to leave when they get, when they finish the 3rd floor. If they didn't ring any of the wardens, they don't even notify the Immortals. Now, what does this do? Well, it doesn't finish your play, right? It doesn't give you all of the censure, the rewards, and etc. as a shadow, but you do get to take whatever you got with you when you leave. Now, what is it that you're taking with you? Essentia, a little bit of gold, mostly pride, and sometimes you take a legendary gear or 2 from the vault. Sometimes, like when you're doing stuff, a legendary piece of gear that's actually in the vault that's holding for, let's say, one of the Immortals, it will drop for a shadow. And if you leave with it, it's yours. Now, it might not be for your class or whatever else, but it is the case. So, long story short, some shadows are trying to think, well, maybe you just leave on the 3rd floor. Now, what does that do, though? Does that really hurt the Immortals? Not really. I mean, okay, maybe if you go to the 4th floor and you're full of pockets, right? You got that legendary piece of gear, or maybe a lot of the Essentia. When you engage the Immortals on the 4th floor, if they wipe you out, right, they're taking that stuff with them. You're not taking it out of the vault. The only way you take it out of the vault is if you beat the Immortals, because none more can come in. then you can continually just raid the 4th floor, finish it, and leave. Or if you leave on the 3rd floor. But really, realistically, as far as the Immortals, it doesn't really do much for us. You take some of the Essentia, which you don't need. I mean, maybe you take a legendary piece of gear or two. But at the end of the day, you're just cutting the fun, I guess. So, because remember, that's the whole idea of the vault, right? Is to turn a PvE experience into a PvP experience. Because if the shadows take the Immortals down, if the bell rings and 4 shadows take out the 4 Immortals, the vault is yours to raid for free. So if you want to leave and cut your experience, you can. You're not really hurting the Immortals much, to be honest with you. The only thing you're doing is basically like not doing it to the end and not having as much fun as possible. That's kind of what it's all about, Echo.
Okay, so. Well that makes sense. That makes sense totally, and I'm happy to see that a bunch more questions coming in. By the way, we have who was it that said it? We have Gamer Solo King saying, "I'm one of the guys leaving on the 3rd floor when we get 120,000 gold and 200 hilts." So he's one of them doing it. But Nemo, I wanted to take it over here to the news, right? Because we did have an update or some update information regarding Diablo Immortal. And I'm going to pop it up right here. This is the blog post. I did put out a video going over this, but let's talk about a few things that were from here. We're not going to sit here and read through it, okay? That's not the plan right now, but I do want to bring up a couple of good points. So one of the best points that we got out of this, and there are two that I really like. One, Nemo, is that they mentioned another update this month. Now, this is something that I've said from the beginning. You know, I'm trying to collect my thoughts here. Okay, I got them. From the beginning, pay to win game or not, I wanted to see Blizzard supporting the game going forward for years to come. They're proving that that's happening inside of this blog post. We are going to have an update every single month, and every single month that update is going to be a battle pass, some balance changes, and from what we're seeing here, maybe even one of these events, which is the Hungering Moon weekend event, which is coming up, which I'm really excited about. And of course, we're going to be getting ourselves new Heliquary bosses along the way as well. We have Vatath right now, which was really fun and also really difficult. So, but in this blog post, they also mentioned that there's going to be another update later on this month, which is what really excited me the most. We don't know yet what's going to be inside of that update. We're not sure what we're going to be seeing there, but they have something planned. And when they have something planned, in my opinion, that means something's coming. It doesn't mean, more balance changes. It means that something's coming. And Adam, who's the community manager for Diablo Immortal and other Blizzard games, had in Discord mentioned something about the class change system, Nemo, coming possibly later on this month, which is awesome in my opinion. I honestly think it was too early to have it come for this update. I mean, we're kind of still like really finishing off our builds with our primary character classes. For me personally, I wouldn't be ready for a class change just yet. I think it would be a little too early for that, but it's coming and that's great. So let's talk, I guess, first, Nemo, about how do you feel about this regular update progression? In my opinion, I think we could really look forward to 2 monthly updates in Diablo Immortal, one of them being a Battle Pass update with some events that may happen and the Heliquaries we saw, and the other one being maybe a new piece of content or something new coming to the game, maybe a larger update. What are your thoughts on that? Right? How does it make you feel about the game's longevity?
I love it, to be honest with you. That's really cool. When they dropped that and they said there's another update coming too. Like, I mean, one thing is this one is smaller, right? You got the battle pass, which is expected, right, every month, and then you have some bugs and PC issues and whatever, and a bunch of fixes, which are great. Then there's the event, which also is a monthly thing, right? Which would make sense, right? You'd want to have the event, maybe the Heliquary boss, which Vitath dropped. You want to have a battle pass, things like just normal, regular patches and updates and etc. But then on top of that, they're like, oh, we have another one. I'm really excited for this one. I know that Pez, right, he did state something about the class change system, so I cannot wait to get into that. I do think it's a little early as well, maybe for people that are happy with their classes, right? Like me and you, like, I'm playing as a barbarian. It's just absolutely not enough time. I definitely need to test more stuff out. I need to make sure I get more. I don't even have all the essences yet and all that stuff. So I think, but it's also important to have this system because I heard that a lot of folks who are playing, they're like, I started playing and I got to, max level, but I'm not really happy with whatever class. I'm not going to say which because it doesn't matter. They're all awesome. But whichever class, they're like, I'm not really happy with it. So I kind of do want to, go back to my days in D3 or do something like that. So I think it's important to have this for whoever is feeling this way. That way they can switch the classes. It's really cool. The whole idea of constant updates and getting more and more stuff come out, it's really exciting. It definitely shows that they're here to support the game. I think they've said that multiple times, that they're continually going to push this. It's going to be like a live service type of game. So I'm pretty excited about that.
And I just highlighted it right here. It says, while we don't want to entirely spoil the fun, we will leave you with this. Class change along other additional new content is coming your way in our next update later this month. So it actually wasn't a maybe or maybe not. They are stating right here that class change and more will be coming, which is cool. I'm happy about it. Though, Nemo, we talk about it all the time. A game that I played a lot of was Rise of Kingdoms. Completely pay to win war game. Whatever. Good game. And one of the best in its genre on mobile. And they do it really well. New events all the time. They're like weekly events, and the events are things that aren't anything crazy. It's not like the developers build something completely new for the game, but it's an event that's going to give you additional rewards, and Blizzard was not doing this with Diablo Immortal besides bounties. But now we have a Hungering Moon weekend event, and I'm excited about it. I don't know why I'm so excited about this, because no one's really talking about this event, but it shows me that it's new content. It's going to be doing something. We don't really know what it involves just yet, but it is exclusive to the weekend. It's going to give us more rewards, and it's more ways to play Diablo Immortal. Because when you start getting yourself towards that max level, maybe you don't want to run dungeons all the time or rifts all the time, or maybe you're not into PvP and battlegrounds, or you don't want to be the immortal and have to defend immortality, but you want to play. You have events coming through like this, which in my opinion is really cool. What do you know about the Hungering Moon event, Nemo? Do you have any insight that I don't have?
No, it's going to be one of those events. I know that we did in the beta, I believe, we had an event. It was called the Dawn of Damnation. Why do I keep saying Dalmatian versus Damnation? But it was one of those damnation events.
Yeah.
And I think I'm trying to remember what it was, but it was like basically a bunch of activities. You had to go through different zones, complete different things. It was like it wasn't like a bounty, something like that was really easy to do. It was more of an event that you had to do every day. I think for a few days in order to complete it. There was a whole bunch of tasks involved. Some of them were easy, some of them were a little bit harder. Like there was dungeons, and there was also other activities in the zones themselves. Some interesting things. And when you completed it, I'm trying to remember. I think you got a crest. I'm trying to remember. Maybe aspirin keys, a bunch of stuff like that. So I'm gonna assume it's something that's close to this. I don't know. It's Hungering Moon versus the Dawn of Damnation. Sounds pretty close. So I'm sure it's something to do with that. That's all I know. No other details about the Hungering Moon event.
Okay, fair enough. And I'm in the same boat as well. But it's gonna be fun. Having events is cool. Balance changes. It seems that they gave the wizard and the monk both a buff. When you look at it, it says increased a lot, and not needing to go through all these, but they increased them. I like that. I like that rather than nerfing other classes, right? So my barbarian, I'm happy with it. I don't want to see him nerfed, but if there's classes that are struggling behind, buff them. I think they did that right, which is cool. And yeah, all this other stuff is what it is. But I think the artwork is really cool too, with all of it, Nemo, by the way.
There's a question that came in through the chat that actually is relevant to what we're saying.
Perfect.
General Eronimus said, I heard rumors that the Blood Knight class is coming. Wishful thinking or real possibility this early in the game? What do you think, Hako?
I saw that video, or I saw that video was made. I think it was Darth Microtransaction, who's another content creator with us over at AMG, and another guy that focuses on Diablo Immortal, by the way, if you haven't checked him out. Great content creator and streamer. But he did put out that Blood Knight thing. Now, I saw that he was looking at things on Reddit, and people like scroll through code to find things. That's not something that I do at all. So I guess with all that being said, I have no idea if it's legit or not. I don't know if they found something in the code that led to believe that there's going to be a Blood Knight class. Well, I don't know. What do you know?
Because they do data mine. So what you're talking about is data mining.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the video because I don't know. I don't know the microtransactions, but I I do know that data mining is a thing, right? So what's data mining? It's a way for you to, if somebody's a coder or somebody's a programmer, they can go in because code is available, right? The game is out there. So they go in, they can start looking at the code and try to find stuff. Now it's not like as easy as just like looking at your table and looking for papers. Think of it as like maybe if you're in a dark room, a very huge dark warehouse, and you're giving a tiny little flashlight and you can only see this much. So as you're going around this warehouse looking at stuff, you might see something like, for example, a box that says Blood Knight. But that doesn't mean anything. It just means that there's a code for it in the game. And the way that the software is written, trust me when I tell you this, I know this. A lot of the stuff that's written, like something like 30 or 40% of the code is never used in actual production. So they might have it, they might be working on it at some point 10 years down the line and all of that, but does not mean that it will be in the game. They could just scrap it and never use it, you know? Definitely make sure that if you're looking at data mining stuff, you look at it with a grain of salt. It's never going to percent. And to answer the question, I don't think Blood Knight is coming. There's no way that it's coming early because remember, with a new class, you need a new zone, you need more levels, you need a whole bunch of other stuff, you need a new boss. This is one of the bigger updates. If there is a new class that's coming, it's going to be way down the line. That's just my opinion. What do you think, Akko?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think the Blood Knight's coming now. No. I mean, will it possibly come in the future? Maybe. I don't know. I want new classes, but honestly, if I realistically look at the game and I say, what do I want for its longevity? Because obviously I have invested interest in the game doing well long term. I love the game. I play the game every day, and I have a YouTube channel that supports the game, right? So I want it to do well. I want it to do well for a long time. I think we shouldn't see class changes more than once a year. And if it's more than that, I'd say once every 6 months, but I honestly think that's too much. Give me a new class every year, support the game throughout the year with events and different things that keep coming to the game, keep building the game up to a bigger and beefier game. And then once a year, give me a new class. That's cool. That's fine. And that's the way I think it should be. If we're getting it more than that, it's going to get burned out. I mean, how many new characters can they bring to the game? You know, like we have 6. If they put out one every 3 months, I mean, it's going to be 4 new characters a year. When you look at you look 5 years down the line, that's 20 new character classes for 26, which also means, Nemo, you'd need 26 new skins every month, and it just wouldn't work. It would be too much. It would be too big, in my opinion. Actually, if I look at a game, Brawl Stars puts out a new character every month with the Brawl Pass, like a new playable character, and I think it's too much. I get overwhelmed with the game, and I play Brawl Stars as well on my main channel, but there's like 55 characters right now. And think about it, their Battle Pass doesn't have a new skin for every class because you could play them all. But if Blizzard had to do artwork for 30 different classes every month for the Battle Pass, and then 30 different classes whenever they want to put out a new piece of artwork or something, it would just be too much. And the game doesn't need that many classes. It really doesn't. I think that it's very balanced with the classes that it has now. And once a year, then if the game is a 10-year game, you're looking at 16 classes, which is still a ton and still too much. I would say for the first year, 2, 3 years, maybe 1 a year, and then kind of see where the game is at. Does the game need classes? Why bring things to the game that it doesn't need? You know, maybe at that point in time, there'll be something different that it might need. So you agree with me, Nemo?
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And again, I'll echo when I was saying don't take data mining as a something that is definitely coming. Most of the time data mining stuff does not come to the game. So just keep that in mind. And totally agree with you. So I wanted to switch really quick. There was one other question, I don't want to forget it. Michael Witt asked, we were talking about clans, and he asked, are there any perks to having a Shadow and Immortal clan, or is there any perks to having an Adventurer clan? So I have that written down. I didn't forget about you, Mike. So a quick one. What we talked about was all of the perks for being the Immortals, right? The Shadows have their own perks, and actually Echo and myself have tons of videos on it, so just make sure you check them out if you wanted to see. There's a lot of perks for being a Shadow. Unfortunately, there are not really that many perks for being an Adventurer clan. You don't really get the contract, you don't get any extra activities, you don't get any of the Immortal stuff, you don't get to participate in any of the activities between the Shadows and the Immortals. So most of the time adventurers are like casual players or people that don't want to engage in the cycle of strife. So otherwise you don't really get any rewards for that. So I just wanted to mention that, Echo, before we move on.
No, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. And so I'm going to bring up this question that was brought up to us from Lucas. He says, I'm sorry, guys. And that's why I'm taking this question, because he respectfully is bringing up the whole pay to win issue with, by the way, people that are just like dwelling on pay to win issues. It's like old Bill Clinton jokes. Like it's past now. This is the way the game is going to be. We're going to play it the way that we could play it the best and enjoy it, right? So let me read out his question. I'm sorry, guys. Don't mean to be rude. What's the point of promoting this game? The free-to-play experience is just trash. I actually like this question, Nemo. Respectful, not trying to be rude, but he legitimately has that question. Is the game pay to win? Is it going to cost you money to be the best in the server, to be the best, running rifts and PvP and all that? Yeah, it's going to cost you if your server is a spender server. Is there a chance that you get into a server where like everyone is free to play? I mean, odds are against you, but I guess who knows? But most likely, if you want to be one of the best, you're going to have to spend money to get there. But with that being said, I actually just recorded a video yesterday with a member of the community, which is the first time ever doing a community spotlight talking with Red October. I'm really excited about this video. I'm not going to say anything more than that besides we directly tackle this topic. Red October reached out to me with the idea. This was his video idea from watching Diablo Immortal streamers and grinders and blasters play the game for 10, 12 hours a day, and then that weren't enjoying it because of the experience that they were having at those levels, right? So him and I are going to directly talk about how to play the game as a free-to-play player and really enjoy it and get the most out of it. On top of that, after one of our Keon's ordeals, Nemo, I believe you were in the chat as well. We had a Keon's ordeal. Afterward, we were on voice with a lot of people from our community, and a few people spoke up that were free-to-play players, and they voiced how they love playing the game and enjoy the game as a free-to-play player because it's not to them about being number one. It's to them about being able to contribute to the group, to everyone that's participating in this stuff, to the clan family. And even as a free-to-play player, spending $0, you can grind, you can play, you can contribute, and you could help people, even the strongest in the server, maintain immortality. Everyone that is the immortal, that are immortals, the 300 immortals, don't all need to be whales. I mean, we have completely free-to-play players that have spent $0 that are immortals in Diablo Immortal. We have people that have spent a good amount of money in Diablo Immortal that are immortals, and we have people like myself who are in the middle. I'm at this point, because I like to give my update, actually. I think it's kind of fun. I spent $235 in the game. $135 of that were packs from dungeons, Battle Pass, Boon of Plenty, the Paragon thing, and then I spent $100 to make one video running 50 legendary crests because I want to do it for a video because I'm a YouTube content creator. My plan moving forward is I'm probably only going to buy the Battle Pass, and I'm debating the Boon of Plenty. I haven't bought any of the gem packs. I know the Blessing of the Worthy was in the shop, and I could have bought 3 packs. It would have gotten me to $175 in spend on those packs alone, and it would have gotten me to a level 4, I think, Blessing of the Worthy, if I decided to spend everything in there. I actually decided against it because I felt that if I did that, it would make me want to do it more and more often, more gem packs, and I'd feel obligated to, and I don't want to feel obligated to spend. So I'm kind of handling it my own way. Everyone has their own way of spending. So I do think, and I kind of went off track here, but I do think as a free-to-play player, the game has a ton to offer. I mean, compare this to other games, specifically mobile games, how much depth there is inside of this. And people will say, oh, but you can only play for 3 or 4 hours a day before you start to feel the effects of it. I mean, so let's compare it to like other mobile games that are huge. You know, you have PUBG Mobile, you have Clash of Clans. I mean, how long are you playing these games? I think a lot of this comes to the traditional PC players that will sit and grind Diablo games for 8 to 10 hours a day. Maybe that's where they're seeing some of these issues. But for the typical mobile gamer that doesn't game that way, I think that it's a very different issue. Nemo, anything to add on this topic?
Well, you brought up a lot of solid points. One thing I just want to also add on to is the whole free-to-play player experience. It depends where you are too, right? I mean, I understand what you're saying. If you're going to join some of those I did see some of the clans out there that are requiring a certain CR, requiring certain resonance in order to play, and blah blah blah. Those are the competitive, crazy clans. But when you join the clan family, like, and I don't want to plug our clan family in here, but I will. The link will be in the description. You make sure you come join us on the server. But we don't do that, right? We play with everyone. So our free-to-play players might have a lower CR or less resonance, but we're gonna pair them on the team with the strong players to make sure that they get the content. Like as you were saying, that some players are happy to play and support and etc. At the same time, I heard just the other day, two of the players say, "Hey, thanks so much for for carrying us through Keon's 4. You know, we couldn't do it." Or Vitoth came out, right? The Helicarrier boss. She requires a 2000 CR. So combat rating has to be high in order to play her. Well, what we did was we paired a whole bunch of strong players that have the high CR, that maybe spend the money. We paired them with the ones that didn't to make sure that they get the rewards as well. We play as a team. Free to play, pay to win, whatever. We'll all play together as a team. And yeah, if you took a whole bunch of free to play players and put them into one clan together, they're not going to be able to progress to certain levels because, like you said, the game at certain times does become you have to pay. Yeah, you have to at least get X amount of things to get your combat rating up, to get some resonance in order to get through certain bosses and etc. and on and so forth. But at the same time, it's also at the highest levels of the game, right? A lot of the times, I agree with the whole pay-to-win aspect, and I agree that the free-to-play players should be adjusted in a way. There's just certain things, we talked about this 100 times, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse to it. But at the same time, if you really think about it, we as the community are a really hardcore community. PC community, people that watch YouTube in general, we make like 5% of the players that actually play Immortal. 90% of the players that play Diablo Immortal don't even watch YouTube or know what we are. I have a lot of friends that actually gotten on the server and they're like, Nemo, I can't wait to to check you out. Da, da, da. I've been playing on the same server as you and etc. It's been like 3 weeks. And I'm like, all right, sweet. So can you meet me in Westmarch? They're like, oh, I didn't get there yet. So case in point here, most of the people don't play 3-4 hours or 16 hours a day to hit some of these caps and to do all of these things. But I do agree with the community. Some of the free-to-play things need to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So, but you said it best, Echo.
I think you said it best, Nemo. And I'd say 50% of people that have downloaded, which is over 5 million people, are just super casual. They're playing here and there. My brother-in-law, that's actually where I'm going today. I'm going to go hang out with my nieces. It's their birthday. He is one of those players. He plays Diablo Immortal. He was a big WoW player, huge grinder back in the day, but now he's a dad. And now he plays games on his phone, like me, because he doesn't have that kind of time anymore. He's super casual in Diablo Immortal. You look at his build, and it's like, you're like, oh, how have you been playing that for a month? But really, we are not the norm. People that are Paragon 80 plus, that is not the norm when you're looking at all of the people playing the game. And that's something we always forget. If you're watching this podcast, if you watch videos on YouTube, you are already over and more invested than 90 to 95% of the people that are playing this game. Just being here watching this. So we think that everyone watches YouTube because we're here making YouTube or watching it ourselves. We forget that the casual people, well, it's just not how it goes, and it's not how it works. We did have another question come in here, Nemo, and I want to find it again. Oh, it was from Gamer Solo King again. He said, I'm free to play and I enjoy the hours I put into the game. Got my CR, which is my combat rating, to just over 2,000. Free to play, Paragon 82. Now this is a serious player, right? This is someone that's put some time into the game before swapping to a new server. So is it possible to progress as a it is possible to progress as a free-to-play player, which we wish we just had more options for gems. And that brings up another point I want to bring up. These updates we talk about, 2 updates a month, the balance changes, they could very well change how the gems work in the game. Will it be, next update, legendary crests are free for all? No, that's not going to happen. But over time, we could see a shift in how all of this works. Nemo, you played Clash of Clans. Let's compare this to Clash of Clans. When the game came out for the first few years, if I wanted to train up a P.E.K.K.A., a Golem, it was 45 minutes to train one troop. And it cost a ton of Dark Elixir or a ton of gold. All the troop queue times and all that. In the latest Clash of Clans update, the queue times were cut down. Like they're like a minute now. And all troop training is completely free. It costs nothing. So like, look at how that has progressed. And now this is a 10-year progression, but it's progressed from 45 minutes for one troop. Like if you wanted to do like a P.E.K.K.A. army, it could take you It could take you 3 or 4 hours to train your army where you hit train and then you just kind of put the game away because you can't do anything because they're training. It sucked. It was so bad. I don't know why that ever was like the system, but now it's evolved over time. Queue times were cut, costs were cut to the point where now it's completely free, meaning free like in-game money. It costs you no resources to train them, and the time is cut down to a 16th. It's a fraction of the time. You could train up an army now in 5 or 10 minutes, and there's boosts you can do as well that'll help it happen. So I predict we see the same type of stuff in Diablo Immortal. Do I know what areas of the game that'll happen in? No. Could it happen in the dungeons that we were talking about, Nemo, where we were saying, you know, we want to be able to do it solo? It could be that, or maybe it's just going to be in how the legendary crest system works. Maybe they're going to be easier to get. Maybe they'll give out more to free players for rewarding them to do other things, or maybe it will never change at all, but I don't think that's the case. Knowing mobile games, they work differently than PC games. They're free to play. You can get a lot out of it completely for free. There's going to be a point where you pay in all mobile games, and the way that they update them and change how the flow of the game is different than on PC, in my experience. Nemo, do you agree with that? Do you foresee? Now, I'm talking long term. I'm not talking like in the next few months. I'm talking as the years go on and Diablo Immortal evolves into something that's probably going to be so different than it is right now. I look forward to seeing what Diablo Immortal looks like in 3 years. We could do those comparison videos, like Diablo Immortal back then versus Diablo Immortal now. It's going to change. Do you think that they'll kind of move in that direction? What are your thoughts?
100%, man. 100%. Because remember, they're just reactive as it is, right? They're the most reactive development company that I've seen, really, in general. So they always are looking for feedback and adjusting things as they go. It's been what? Just a month where they have updates. Even between the alphas and the betas, we've seen all the changes. They almost happen on the fly. In fact, that's something I noticed as well, right? If you've been playing, you've noticed that there are certain changes that are happening like just on the fly. They're literally like changing things as we go, fixing bugs, issues, and etc. Right? They had tons and tons of bugs that they fixed on the fly as we keep moving forward here. So there's almost zero possibility that they're not going to change the game for the better. So as we play and as we give them the feedback and etc., they're going to take that back and adjust it. And like you said, Clash of Clans, I remember the walls, man. The walls.
Oh yeah.
That was the most. I spent 2 or 3 weeks one time grinding for just like 4 wall pieces. And nowadays, I mean, they're like not even half the price of what they were. So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting how the game progressed.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Echo.
The progression is great, and it was great. It did well in Clash of Clans. Supercell, in my opinion, probably one of the most. They do mobile gaming right. They see a lot of success with the games they put out. I know that some people that used to work at Blizzard now work over at Supercell, so there's some type of a transfer of knowledge between people there as well. And I have high hopes. I mean, Blizzard, they make their mistakes, you know. I mean, there's no doubting that. But we know that the core people working on Diablo Immortal really have the best in mind for the game, and they listen to what we say. Do they say, "Oh, Nemo and Echo, they want this done, we're going to make that change right now"? Of course not. But they hear it, right? They listen to the podcast. They listen to us if we get in touch with them. And it gets put in their head. And it's something that they can digest and think about. Wizard Diablo Immortal asks, "Hey, Echo and Nemo, remember, do you think the changing class should be free? Like a Paragon reset? Instead of that 30-day limit, what do you think about this?" Okay. Should it be free? Yeah, I think it should be free. Will it be free? I'm not sure. If it's not free, it should be done with platinum, because you can get platinum for free, remember. I put a video out in the charm system, and everyone's like, "Oh, this is a pay-to-win system." Remember, we do get platinum for free. Now, the charm system stinks. It's a lottery that I don't like, but it doesn't cost you real money, you know? Like, you get, I don't know how much platinum you get free a day. What, 400 or 500 platinum free a day? So it's not a big deal, but I hate wasting my platinum on spinning a charm and not getting the thing that I want in the charm. So if there is a fee, I hope that it's platinum, because free-to-play players can grind that for free. It shouldn't be something that people have to pay for if they're free to play, right? 30-day limit, there has to be some kind of a limit on it, so that you don't like, okay, this morning I'm going to be playing as a barbarian, so I'm going to be doing this, but then I'm going to be doing the Rite of Exile tonight, so I'm going to switch to that class to do this. I think that would be too much. Nemo, what do you think?
Yeah, 100% agreed. I think it should be free. It's definitely something that I almost like think that the best way to do it is to make sure that you give somebody a chance to switch to another class and try it, but not abuse it, right? So Maybe a free with some sort of a cooldown. I mean, I really don't think that it. By the way, speaking about platinum, by the way, you can get charms with hilt as well. Don't forget, you could just go to the
Right.
hilt trader and get your charms that way. But in general, I don't think that they should charge for this, because maybe at least give a few free ones or something like that. Because some people, man, they just like to play and try out a different class, and it's a Diablo thing to just go and try different classes. You shouldn't punish somebody. Like, I think we've made multiple videos about this, especially when it comes to like having gems and putting real money into things. You know, you're not gonna like leave a class unless you're allowed to kind of move everything with you and etc. So I think it should be free. Maybe a 1 or 2 time thing. Maybe also, I think it's also important, and again, it's my own thing, but to be able to switch to a class and then have an opportunity to switch back. Because like, you might, you know, if you never played, like you play as a melee, right? You might play as a barbarian and then say, oh, I want to try out the wizard. It's such a different class that you might not like it. So you might want to go back to the barbarian. So it would be cool to be able to go back as well. So I think free should be the case for sure.
You know what would be cool?
Cool.
I think free should be the case too. You shouldn't be penalized for wanting to experience more of the game. There shouldn't be a penalty. You know what would be cool though? If instead of character swapping, if you could character duplicate, so you could still play as your barbarian, and you would then have the same level other class that you wanted to duplicate to. I don't think that's going to be the case. I was just thinking that would be kind of cool, because then you still have your barb if you want to play as your barb, but you will also have a Paragon 70 wizard that you could mess around with like similar gear levels. Of course, you would need to grind for the gear levels. Someone mentioned that eternal orbs should be farmable inside of the game. I don't know that I agree with that. Maybe rewards for certain events. It would be small amounts, though, I would assume. And by the way, when we were talking about the platinum with charms, Nemo, I was specifically talking about when you have to imbue a charm, a 5-star stone. It costs it costs 500 platinum. Buying, charms, getting charms, and all that is, you can get them. You just accumulate those. Was the Phoenix of Ashes nerfed? I don't think so. Speaking of nerf and what Nemo said, in the background of the game, things are regularly updated. We heard that there were like hundreds of bug fixes and updates and things happening just in the background. Something that I really liked that happened was controller support on the PC has gotten better. Do we remember? I mean, I plug in my controller right now and the lag is gone. The playing experience right there is so much better. And this is something that just kind of snuck in there quietly. No one's really talking about it, but so many people complained about how the controller sucked on PC. I was one of them. I didn't like it. It wasn't comfortable. It was a delay. It's fixed now. I can play on my computer and I can really enjoy it quite a bit more, which is nice. So, any other background things that you've noticed, Nemo, or excuse me, or any other topics that you want to discuss before we close out the rest of the show?
Well, I definitely noticed some fixes. Like, I think my character moves a little bit smoother on my phone and on my tablet as well. It was kind of clunky and weird, especially with the Immortal cape. It kind of looked like I was a robot just moving back and forth. So they fixed that. Definitely, I noticed there was a lot of smoothness things. Also, I used to be able to disconnect, right? I would disconnect all the time. Knock on wood, that hasn't happened that much. So I think so far things have been pretty smooth. So no, Echo, I think that's the only thing I was gonna, the only thing I really needed to mention.
All right, cool. So I think that, in summary, the game's progression is going well. I think Blizzard is up on the regular updates, which is going to be great for the game long term. And I think that we are really settling in on what the game is, right? We know what it is now. There's no more speculation on if it's pay to win or not. We know where we stand, and we find our way to play it in a way that works for us. Joe over here, Joe's going to spend $1,000 a month, and he's going to be a whale on the server, if not more. We have Christina over here. She's going to be free to play. And you have your boy Echo in the middle. I'm going to spend a few bucks here and there as little minnow. But we all find our way to enjoy the game. And if you can't, you go decide to play another game. And someone in the chat did say it well. A lot of the people complaining about Diablo Immortal are people that maybe were hoping for Diablo 4. Right? And looking for that, which is coming in about a year. Now, another topic that we could have for another episode is how much of Diablo Immortal feature would we see over in Diablo 4? Because I think they have a great opportunity here to test out what works in Diablo Immortal and take the things that work well and that people like and put them into their new Diablo game, Diablo 4. So, Nemo, we have a question to close out with for the day, though, from Red October, don't we?
We do. We do have a question from Red October.
I'm just watching. I'm watching like us live, and then I'm watching the stream with a little delay, and I saw your eye movements when I was talking about Diablo 4. I didn't catch it live. You're funny.
I'm wearing a Diablo 4 shirt, man.
I know you are.
Don't upset.
I like it.
Don't upset Lilith.
I didn't say we bad. I said that they would be taking the features that people like from Diablo Immortal and bring them into Diablo 4.
No, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
While you find that question, I'll remind everyone that our podcasts are live on my YouTube channel, Local Gaming Diablo, after the show. If you want to rewatch them or watch parts you missed, we're also on Spotify. We are on Apple Music, Google Music, and all that stuff. And we have the giveaway going on. We're giving away $125 worth of battle passes, payable through PayPal, and that's 25 empowered battle passes for you guys as a community. We thank you. The link is in the description of this over on YouTube. You could also find it on my Twitter, and I'm not sure if Nemo put out a tweet about it as well. Possibly he did. Yeah, so it's like a thank you. Good luck to everyone who enters. What is our closing question here, Nemo?
All right. The closing question from Mr. Red October is, if you could take your family or loved ones anywhere, real or fictional, all expenses paid, money is not a concern, where would you go?
You know,
First.
No, not me first, but I will say, I knew this question was coming, because I read it an hour ago, and I didn't prepare at all. I literally don't have an answer. So, I don't...
Okay, so,
it's hard, because he said real or fake, or fictional.
Right.
So, most likely, we'd want something fictional, right? Because that's cool. But what do you
I don't know.
like?
I'll go with the real one.
What's that?
I'm going with the real one. Well, here I'll answer this one. So one of my favorite places, I like to go to a lot of different places in the world. I'm gonna go with the real because fictional. I mean, there's a lot of different fictional places. I'd like to go to the moon if you could get me there. But in real life, one of my favorite places in the world is in the Caribbean. There's an island called St. Thomas. In there's a place called Megan's Bay. It's one of the most beautiful beaches in the world. It's like top 5 or blah blah blah. But that's not really why I like it. It's the coolest and quietest place. It's a place that really like kind of gets me in the zone. It like equalizes my soul. If you ever have a chance, look up Megan's Bay at St. Thomas, and that is my favorite place in the world, and probably where I would go if no money or whatever was a concern. That's me, Echo.
See, I'm here laughing at you, Nemo, because I'm thinking you in this calm, relaxing place, and I'm saying to myself, this guy clearly doesn't have children that are going to be on this getaway with him. He's there with his lady enjoying his time. Me, I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to have my 2 kids that I need to keep entertained. So I can't go to a place like that because for me, it's not going to be calm. I'm going to be going crazy trying to keep my kids from drowning in the ocean. It's going to be nuts. So for me, I have to think of something more fantasy driven, right? And I think, and this is a weird answer, but if I could go to anywhere real or fictional, I'd want to go somewhere fictional, and I would want to go to a more secure version of Jurassic Park with my family. I think that would be really cool. I think that the kids, as a dad, I have to think about what the kids would like. I mean, I grew up loving dinosaurs. Jurassic Park is probably one of my favorite books, one of my favorite movies. I just loved it. And if that were real, which who knows, it totally could be real one day, the way that science works. I think that would be really awesome, a really awesome trick. But it would have to be safer, right? Because I don't want to die from the Velociraptors or the T-Rexes or, any of that stuff. But that would be, I think mine's better than yours. I think I win. I think I just won the prize.
Echo.
Yeah.
Maybe you win the prize, but you've seen all the Jurassic Parks. It doesn't matter how safe it is or how secure it is. Something is going to happen. Someone is going to get out, and then you're going to have to be running from T-Rexes and all of that. And I don't know, man. I don't know if that's the best option.
Well, maybe it won't be more safe, but they'll have like escape pods that are easily accessible. So like I could have a pod on my back and push a button and it just zips me up into the sky. And then I only have to worry about like pterodactyl and things that fly. Everything else I'm safe from.
That's what I'm saying. They got them up top too, man. I don't know. You might want to reconsider this one, but okay. I'll stick with my beach and you have fun running from the T-Rex.
I will have fun doing that. But hey guys, this was a fun episode. I think we really did a nice job getting to a lot of your community questions. I love that everyone wasn't stuck on the pay to win element. That's really nice to see that we're accepting what it is and moving on from it. Or maybe those people are just, gone. That's cool too. But I had fun. Nemo, episode 30 is in the books. Thanks for hanging out today, man.
It was an absolute pleasure. So much fun being here. I can't wait for episode 31, where we'll talk about what happens next week or today and etc. Super excited. Can't wait to see you all then. Thanks, Echo.
I also can't wait. Guys, we'll be back next week or the week after, not really sure yet. But we are going to go slay in the Rite of Exile tonight. Or actually, I'm going to be watching from the sidelines, as Nemo and family do. Have a great day, guys. Remember, if you want to join our family, the Scrappy Echoes link is in the description, so you can come play along with us. Have a great day, and be good.